Hello, and welcome to Game 6 of US vs UK 2014. The UK currently leads 3-2 in the Best of 9 series. Tonight, Conrad Bassett-Bouchard of the US is playing Wayne Kelly of the UK. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's Wayne to go first. He doesn't have a bingo, but he's got some scoring tiles in the F and the C. So face is... and face or cafe are words he could play. That would leave EOS, which is slightly vowel heavy, but I can't see a way of avoiding that. We've got our railbirds on the right who will be adding their comments during the game. Now this is quite a crucial game. If the US wins, the series will be all square at 3-3, but if the UK wins, that's Wayne Kelly, then the UK will have a 4-2 lead and will need just one more game to secure victory. Now, feces has been pointed out, which would place the F on the double letter square, but it burns the S. So, although it scores more than face or cafe, I don't think it scores enough. Wayne's taking a while on this move. Well, he's gone for 30 points. Face would have been 18. So I still prefer face, but probably not much in it. Now, this is a great rack. There will surely be a bingo here. Novelty has been pointed out, and that plays in rows J and I, beginning underneath the second E of feces, and L'envoys is also, well, it's also a 7-letter play. I'm not sure if it actually does play anywhere. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit, but novelty does. Slovenly has also been pointed out, but I don't think that plays. Yes, it does, down from the S of feces. So, slovenly, novelty. Of those, novelty is better. But will Conrad spot either of those, or will he spot another bingo? Novelty's not, although it's a common word, it's not an easy one to spot because it ends TY, and TY ending words are, well, just don't come to mind as naturally as other suffixes. I'm surprised there aren't more bingos with this rack. It looks really promising. Unlovely would need a U or an L, so Conrad doesn't have that. Now this is the third and final game for each of these players in this tournament, and they have both lost their first two games. So I think that's going to add a slight edge to this game. Both players have got the resilience and the knowledge to know that you can have 3-game losing streaks, but obviously one would like to avoid them if possible. But only one of these players will be able to avoid losing all their games. Solvency. Gosh. Nice word. I don't think that was spotted by any of our railbirds. Certainly wasn't spotted by me. Now, Wayne has not got a good rack. He was drawing 6 random tiles to the O that he kept. And I think his rack is slightly worse than what you might expect from a random draw. What he's going to be looking to do is playing off as many as possible of these high-scoring tiles. Ideally, you'd only want to retain one of them. Although the C and the K together do have some synergy, but the W, the B and the G are not good tiles. But it may be a struggle to play off a significant number of these. Now it's also been pointed out that Conrad could have played convexly on his last rack, so he did have a number of bingos available. Weak is being suggested here. Well, that retains B, C and G, which isn't great. Calx is playable in column 9. Doesn't score a lot, but the rack lever BEG is okay, I think, given this starting point. If there were a T, bow jet would be playable, leaving just CK. But none of the suggestions so far look great. But certainly a play of Calx would be better than changing. No real suggestions from our railbirds on this rack. Okay, bow for 30, keeping CK and G. It's just the G that's troublesome with that rack leave. Back with Conrad, and has not got a good rack. He's got 5 vowels, and he's got 2 pairs of duplicates. He does have scoring tiles in the H and the M, so what he'll be looking to do is to play off one or both of those, whilst playing off a whole bunch of vowels, and that might be quite difficult. My high is good, but that would leave EEO, which is a very vulnerable rack leave. But a play like Homey keeping IE, if indeed Homey, HOMIE, is good, I think it is, might be worth considering. That would play underneath the S of feces. And that would leave just 2 vowels, and certainly a 2 vowel leave is significantly better than a 3 vowel leave. Now, there's some speculation from our railbirds as to why Wayne played bow rather than cow. Cow would have scored 6 more points, but you would then lose out on the CK synergy. Well, looking at the scores, there's only an 11-point difference, so although solvency looked like Conrad had taken a dramatic lead, he is only 11 points ahead, and he's got a poor rack. So if Wayne's got a good rack, he could be drawing level or overtaking next go. Movie is playable in row E, MOVIE, keeping HEI, and I think that's the best I've spotted so far. And high and ho are being suggested. I'm not sure exactly where the best spot for high and ho are, either underneath the S of feces or in row G, but movie has been played. I think that was best. Wayne has got the Q, but he's got the U to go with it, and that means that the Q is now a good tile to have on his rack, so he doesn't have to play it off as a priority. But he will be looking to play it off reasonably quickly, because it's still a non-bingo-y tile. But he could play quag in row I, making far and ag. Squeg has been pointed out in column 9 underneath the S of feces. But it's really a case of playing one of those Q moves or seeing what is available whilst retaining the Q and the U. But the G is not a good tile. I think I may have suggested playing quag, but Wayne doesn't have the A, so I think squeg is the only decent Q play that's been spotted so far. But that's not an easy word to see. But it would be a word that Wayne knows. But almost all of the words that are missed in games are words that you know. Well, Wayne has spotted square 25, and I think that was the best play. And Conrad's rack has really improved. This looks pretty good. He's going to be close to a bingo. I don't think there's a 7-letter bingo with this rack, and the floaters in squeg and feces are not particularly helpful. But a play of hub somewhere with leaving EIRT would be a great rack leave. Now column 8 is going to look attractive, and Burette has been pointed out at the bottom of column 8, leading down onto the triple word square. And I think the score for that, and denying Wayne that spot, is going to justify the suboptimal rack leave. Well, he hasn't gone for that. He has played off BUH, leaving the best rack leave and scoring 27 points. I think that probably was better than Burette because of the, well, just considering the score and rack leave. Now, Wayne's rack has improved, having gotten rid of the Q, but it hasn't improved enough. He's 33 points adrift. He doesn't have a bingo, but he does have some decent scoring tiles. And he's got an A for going in front of the G of squeg, and Sanchit has pointed out that naked is playable. And that's going to be about 39 points, which is pretty good. And the rack leave of CD is okay. Yeah, good play. Now, great rack here for Conrad. He has surely got a choice of bingos. Is there one across from the B of bow? I'm not sure about blistery. I don't think that is good. But bestiary certainly is. Anagram of Sybarite, and that's been pointed out by Quanyak. So I think that's likely to be the best play. There are no double-double rows available, and that's the highest scoring triple lane. I guess what would score more would be a play either in row A or row O, which placed the Y on a double letter square. But I'm sure there's a number of other playable bingos on this board. Possibly something down from the F of feces. Well, I'm still not sure if blistery is good or not. Well, let's find out. I would certainly be challenging this myself because I do have some uncertainty about it. And Quizzical has pointed out that Magistery was playable through the A and G in row L. It wouldn't have scored as much as blistery or bestiary, but it's quite a cool word. So we're back with Wayne. And, wow, so close to a bingo. I think if he did have one, our railbirds would have spotted it by now. Well, dacoities. Ah, well, yes, dacoities. Column 5 through the A of feces. Now that would be a great comeback straight after your opponent has bingoed, but it is such a hard word to see. But that, I think, is certainly the play. And, oh, well, it's been pointed out that that dacoities is not valid. It's only playable ending IS with a K. With a C in third place, it's an IES ending. Okay, I didn't know that. So at the moment, Wayne does not have a bingo. Sodicity, I think, would be good. But the Y of blister is in the wrong place. Now, looking at the scores, Wayne is 83 points behind. So he's a bingo behind. If he can score 20 or 30 points, he will still be in with a shout in this game. So what he'll be looking to do is certainly play off one of the duplicate eyes. Well, really that's the only priority because everything else on his rack is bingo-y. But he's going to need to play off more than just the eye in order to generate a bit of score and also to increase his chances of drawing an E or an A. Because although these tiles are bingo-y, they're not amazingly bingo-y. And Wayne is also going to want to leave the floaters open. So I wonder if he can play up and around Buell. Okay, well, I'm not sure about that. He's played off 5 tiles, so he's drawing 5 random tiles. And I think well, I hadn't spotted a better play, but I think there probably was one. Now, back with Conrad, he's drawn the Z, which is a good scoring tile, but he's got the UV combination, which is bad in itself and doesn't play well with the Z. So it might take him a few moves to play through this rack. So if Wayne could bingo in the next couple of moves, he could get within catching distance of Conrad. But that's going to depend how much Conrad's able to score with this Z. Now putts is being pointed out. That's playable in column 4, parallel to decoy. That's going to score pretty well. And that's also playable in row D, but the column 4 placing is going to score a lot more. And the rack lead off after that is AIV, which is pretty good. The V has got synergy with the A and the I. And the UV combination has been split up, so I think putts was the best play there. Wayne has drawn a cracking rack. He's got a raised. That plays in row D, making AE, and also in row F, making EA. Does he have anything else? Okay, well that goes straight down, 72 points. Wayne is now 31 points behind. Conrad's on turn. And he's drawn a whole bunch of vowels plus an N. But he can play in column 15. He could play divan. Ooh, if the Z was in a better spot, he would have avian eyes, as pointed out by Quagnac. But as it stands, he's got aveyes, and, well, that's a possibility, aveyes. In row N, it is opening up the triple word squares in column 1, but the column 15 triple word square is open, so opening up a second hotspot is nothing like as dangerous as opening up a singleton hotspot. But I suspect a column 15 play is going to be better. Ah, well, Visey 38. I didn't consider that. Whoa, people are saying challenge and that's not good. So come on, Wayne, challenge. It's not good, it's only VISIE. If in doubt, challenge. Okay. Well, he may not challenge. He should challenge, but he may not. He's got a bingo-y rack and he may be focusing on bingoing. And he may be assuming Visey's good because his opponent's really good. And he also may be reluctant to challenge a word which turns out to be good. But certainly, challenge. Now, Wayne has got 9.5 minutes left. If he allows this to stay on, then he is 69 points behind. And I don't think Wayne has got a bingo with this rack. Certainly nobody has suggested one. They're still commenting about the Visey play. Visey with an S is good, and Vizier with a Z is good, so it looks plausible, but it's not good. Eight and a half minutes left for Wayne. So what should he do with this rack? Certainly split up the duplicate T. Probably try and split up the L and the N. So a rack leave of ANTE would be good. That would mean playing something like lot, and he could do that underneath AIS of a raised, but in so doing he is taking out a lot of good floaters. He could also play lot in row C, making ob and tum. Yeah, that's the play, because lot does take front hooks, and he's therefore opening up a new bingo lane in column 2. Visey, the phony, stayed on, and Conrad has now got a pretty good rack. That looks really close to a bingo. I'm just looking around at the available floaters, which are mainly the ones in a raised and naked. And I can't see a bingo. But it is a good rack, and he's not going to have any difficulty playing through this. I think Dorad is good. That would play in column 15, leaving ANS. 21 points. Yeah, that's also being suggested by Mr. Wobble. Well, I think that's also good. It scores about the same. This is Donna. But it takes out all of the floaters, which makes Wayne's job of bingoing that much harder. Wayne does now have a good rack, but it's not a good bingo-y rack. But if he can score well with the X, that could be as good as a bingo. There is the X spot, the triple letter spot to the right of the O of dacoit, but he can't make that work both ways. Now, what about row F? Hox is good, but he doesn't have a play beginning XE. So it doesn't look like there are any massive X scores available. In which case, he should probably play off the W and the X if he can. Well, Adnexa has been suggested by Magic Hour in column 15. It does retain the W, but it scores well. When for 33, he certainly needed to play off either the W or the X. He's played off the W. Maybe he'll have a big X score next go. For example, if he picks up a U, he could have Zoo and Ox and Payu in column 6. This is a pretty good rack for Conrad. Again, looks close to a bingo, but I don't think there is one there, and there are not many floaters to consider, mainly because Conrad killed off 4 of them last go. So, looking at the scores, Conrad has a 43-point lead. Okay, 21 points for male. Wayne did not draw a U. So what can he do here? And I note that... well, that was a nice play by Male, and I'm just inferring this from our Railbird's comment. Male sets up the S front hook for Mutt to make Smut. So column 2 is now a bingo lane available to Conrad, because I think he had an S on his rack last go. And in fact, he has the last S of the game, so he knows that column 2 is only available for him. So that was a pretty smart move. And he also left a decent rack leave. About a 60-point difference in spread. Wayne could still win this. But there are only 15 tiles in the bag, so he needs to bingo, and he needs to hope that Conrad doesn't bingo. Surely the X has got to be played this go. But if he does play the X, he's got to play at least one vowel with it, and preferably two. There are only two E's left, so the E on his rack is quite valuable. There's some speculation amongst our railbirds as to whether Wayne should retain the X in the hope of drawing a U for the Zoox Payu spot. Trouble with that is if Wayne retains the X on this go, what's he going to play? He's only got 1 point tiles. Well, I'm not sure that that's the best play. He's played off no vowels at all with it. But we're back with Conrad, and that looks an excellent rack. So, is there a bingo? Nothing's being suggested yet by our railbirds. Guarani's would be good through an A. Oh well, airgun's great spot. And that probably settles the game in Conrad's favour. He's now got a 107 point lead. Only 7 tiles in the bag. That was a really good spot. It's a common word, but it's not easy to see. It's a compound word, 2 words put together as opposed to a prefix or a suffix. And I don't think any of our railbirds spotted it, and I didn't spot it, so good play by Conrad. So, what should Wayne do? 7 tiles in the bag, he's 100 points behind. The game is probably lost, but he should play to maximise his winning prospects, however slim they may be. I think surely here he has to play in column 1. And, well, I don't agree with that. I think he could have played just double A in column 1. I think this is just too easy for his opponent to play there, but having said that, maybe he can't. He's got Fridjol on his rack. Oh, well, look at that. That does play at A, 1 down. So, that would be pretty good. Will Conrad spot it? I'm not sure if Conrad plays exclusively with the Collins Dictionary or whether he... No, he also plays with the US Dictionary, so he is struggling with that disadvantage, and Fridjol may not be good in the American word list. Now, 1 tile in the bag. We're looking at Wayne's rack. He's got 5 vowels. He's actually got Ita Aereo on his rack, but there are no 7-letter bingo lanes. And I can't see any 8-letter plays. Now, somebody's suggesting Ita Aereo homeless. Well, I can't see homeless anywhere. Now we're back with Conrad. The game is won. He's got over a 100-point lead and he's on turn. It's been pointed out that he could play adhering in column 15. That would be pretty good, retaining just an F. He'll now be able to see what Wayne has got. It has been pointed out that Fridjol is in both dictionaries, so I was explaining away Conrad's miss erroneously. He should have spotted that. It's in his dictionary. It's also in the Collins Dictionary. But it's a strange word. Now, what Conrad will be considering here is, given that he knows what's on Wayne's rack, he'll be looking to see if Wayne can bingo, and then considering blocking any such bingo. And Wayne's got a pretty bingo-y set of tiles, slightly vowel heavy. But I think it's just the A of erased and the ED of naked which are available floaters, and I don't think any of them provide a bingo. So Conrad probably needs to just consider his own rack here. So adhering is the only suggestion that's really been forthcoming from our railbirds. I haven't seen anything better. Quite a nice rack to end the game with. Plenty of options, high scoring tiles, a couple of vowels. He'll be looking to go out in 2, because if Wayne can't bingo, he'll know that he will have the opportunity to play 2 moves. So although adhering scores well, he'll be left with just the F. So he may be able to score more by playing off fewer tiles. For example, with just the F, he can get 13 at A10 underneath the eye of blistery. But maybe he could get more if he had a vowel to go with that. Fey and a grin has been suggested. I'm not sure where Fey works. Just looking around. Well, Fey plays a B2. 28 points, pretty good. And then a grin in row L. Well, Conrad's got a number of choices here. And he's got 4.5 minutes to find the best out. So at the moment I think Fey followed by a grin is the best that's been suggested. I can't see anything better. Adhering would be 39 points and 13 for if. Well, that may be better, but what if is blocked? Well, then fob is playable at B4 down. Now, Quizzical is suggesting adhering. Okay, well, Conrad's gone for R-ing. So it'll be interesting to see what he's spotted for his remaining F-E-R. Well, he's got ref in row B. But back with Wayne, who is close to a bingo, but not close enough. He could play adopter in column 15. What else is available? I'm wondering if he could place his P next to the U of squag. Well, he could play Po next to R-ing. P-art for 32, nice play. Now let's see what Conrad had in mind when he played R-ing. Ref certainly plays in row B, but is there a better spot? 22 points for Ref. He's got 3 minutes to review the board. Well, Ref was the play, 22 points. So 22 and 18 for R-ing. He scored 40 points with that combination. And Wayne ends the game. So, the final score, 337 to Wayne, 461 to Conrad, a winning margin of 124 points. So, well done to Conrad, commiserations to Wayne. The series now stands tied 3 games apiece, so everything to play for. Let's see what the players missed in this game. There's the confirmation that Visey was a phony. Wayne to go first. He played Feces, and I think Cafe and Face are better plays. They give fewer opportunities to the opponent. They don't provide access to double word squares. The C is a blocky tile in terms of parallel plays, and the rack leave of EOS, although vowel heavy, is quite good, and you're retaining the S. So I do prefer Cafe to Feces, but I'm not suggesting it's a big margin. Now, great rack for Conrad to start the game with. We saw Novelty, but the words that we didn't see were what he played, which was Solvency, but also Conveil at B5. Very nice. That's through the A of Feces. It gets doubled and scores 5 points more than Conrad's actual play of Solvency. And Novelli is also good. Interesting. I didn't know that. And Venusly. Now, this was a really tricky rack for Wayne. Weak would have scored 43 points, which is a big score. Running down parallel to Solvency. Very nice. And Cow at A8 would have scored 36 points and had a slightly better rack leave. But Weak was definitely a better play than Cow. And the actual play of Cobb was probably slightly worse than either of those two. Sorry, the actual play of Bow. Yeah, it's probably not too distinct from Cobb in terms of how good it is, so suboptimal to Weak and Cow. This was Conrad's rack, a tricky rack to deal with. Movie was the play for 20, and I think that's better than Homie. Although Homie scores 4 more points, the constant really helps the rack leave. This was Wayne's rack. Squag, that looks good. 4H, where's that? Oh, I see, down from the F of Feces. Well, yeah, that wouldn't have been great because you're splitting up the QU combination, so Squag certainly better. This looked close to a bingo for Conrad, but there wasn't one there, and I think Buell was the best play. If you just ignore the scores and look at the rack leaves, you can see that EIRT is hugely superior to almost all the other rack leaves there. But the score as well is not far behind the other moves. Now this is where Wayne played naked for 39, keeping CD. That looks fine. And great rack for Conrad. He played Blistery. And there's the confirmation that it was good. And the other words that were spotted were Bestiary and Magistry. But a couple more lower scoring bingos, or a few more lower scoring bingos were available, including Flightiers, which is a fabulous word. This was the bingo that wasn't. Dacoities looked good, but wasn't. And in fact, no bingos were playable. Wayne played Dacoit for 18, keeping IS. Well, all of the suggestions there involve playing off a whole bunch of tiles. I think the best play here may be something which scores a lot less, but I didn't spot such a play in game time. But a play of DI underneath Blistery, 16 points, keeping CIOST. Well, it would certainly be better than Dacoit. And I think it would be better than Dicot as well. Well, not a great rack, but Dacoit provided a great opportunity for Conrad to get 38 points for putts, which totally sorted the rack out. Wayne did have a bingo here, and Erased was the only playable bingo. This was the phony, the Visey play. And Well, it stayed on, which is fine for Conrad, but it should have been challenged off. And, well, yeah, this was the choice. Should he have played a vise, opening up column 1, or would it have been more sensible to play in column 15, something like divan or divine? Whoops, let's go back to Wayne's rack. Close to a bingo, there wasn't one. And these are always tricky racks to deal with because he's got no scoring tiles. But I think lot is fine. Although it's not on the list of suggestions there, I think it's a better play because the rack leave that is 4 bingo-y tiles, and all of the suggestions here have only 2 bingo-y tiles. So I like Wayne's play. This was Conrad's play. He played Donna for 22, and I think that is best. It takes out 4 really bingo-y floaters and doesn't open up anything. Wayne now had the X, but he didn't have anywhere great to play it. Rate, W-R-A-T, pretty good. J6. Well, coming down column 6, placing the W next to the O of dacoit, it is taking out the useful looking X spot, but that spot is only useful if Wayne draws the U, and there's only one U available, so I think rate would have been a pretty good play. But I think Wayne's play of when was better because that zoo spot is kept open, and also extra is a pretty good 5-letter set. And Wayne doesn't want the end of the game to happen soon because he's behind. This was Conrad's rack. What did he do here? This is where he did something quite cool. He played male, and if we go back and look at the rack, he had the last S, so male set up column 2 for bingos ending in S for him and him alone. So nice play. Wayne had the X, still didn't have anywhere super great for it. He could have played XR8 at N8, but only 30 points, and he's playing off 6 tiles. Not what he's looking to do when he's still looking for a bingo. So what did he do? Well, he played just Ox for 27, keeping AAERT. I know in game time I criticised that move, but looking down the list there aren't obviously better ones. So I think moves which were better than that were only better by a small amount. This was a good spot by Conrad. Air guns, the only playable bingo. And back with Wayne, and he has not got a great rack, and it's difficult to sort out. The suggestions which ISC generates tend to be primarily focused on score, and at this stage, well, Wayne is close to having no hope at all, but his only hope, however slim, is to bingo, so he's looking to play off a small number of tiles, I think. Anyway, what did he do? He played Arc for 10. Yeah, this is where I think a better play would have been playing double A at G1 down, because he would have taken out a really easy spot for Conrad to score, and the rack leave of EORRT isn't terrible. The additional R, it's not the worst tile to have duplicated. Double R does feature in a lot of bingos, and it also helps to address the vowel consonant balance. Anyway, he played Arc, and this is where Conrad had Fridjol. Wow, that would have scored 74 points. So the play of Jolt for 23 was a very poor move in comparison to Fridjol, but tricky word to spot. Wayne was unlucky. He played off AR, and I think he must have picked up a couple of vowels, which he didn't want to see. So what did he do? He played off just one of them, because that's the only way he could bingo. And this is when Conrad could see what Wayne had, and he's now looking to maximise his out in 2. I don't think the programme does that, but we know that Conrad's play of R-ing followed by ref gave him 40 points. Well, adhering would have given him 39, and he'd have got certainly more than 1 point with his F. So I think that adhering would have been a better play. This was Wayne's final rack, and he played Piat for 32, which was pretty good and nearly optimal. And finally, ref for 22 was best and was played by Conrad. So, great game, very exciting. We had a phony, we had... Did we have a miss bingo? We nearly did. We would have done if Dacoites had been good. So we may not have had a missed bingo, but exciting game nevertheless. And in terms of the series as a whole, it is now dead level at 3 games apiece. So join me in 3 days' time, where we have a double header of hot Scrabble action on Saturday night. Jeff Thevenot against me, followed immediately by John O'Loughlin against David Eldar. So I hope you can join me for those games live on ISC or later on video. I hope you have enjoyed tonight's game.